morning. Welcome to Take Me Out to the Ball Game, where we try to get you caught up in the world of sports in just a few minutes every day, catching the headlines. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it. The NHL last night. Islanders drop game number 2 to Tampa Bay, and we have a series 1-1 heading back to New York. That game will take place Thursday night, 8 Eastern. Hell of a melee at the end of the game. Great fight, great hockey fight, and that's what you're looking for when you see Islanders Tampa Bay going at it. So we're going to get a game 3 in New York, and it should be very, very chippy. Tonight, Montreal's at Vegas. Montreal's got to get a W. They've got a very, very difficult road if they lose. If they lose tonight, they're going to have to win 4 of the next 5 games, and you don't want that. We're going to find out, is Montreal for real, or were they beating up on a very, very weak field in the Canadian side of it? Vegas, they're trying to make their way back to the Stanley Cup Finals. They've only been in the league a few years. Obviously, expansion team. We got the new expansion team with the Seattle Kraken coming for you this coming season, but that's where we're at in the NHL. In the NBA, a big W last night for the Brooklyn Nets. KD went off, 49 points. Jeff Green, 27 points. James Harden played. He didn't do much offensively, but he was there and you had to account for him. Kevin Durant played out of his mind. Game number 6 will be Thursday night in Milwaukee, do or die for the Bucks. And Antetokounmpo has got to start showing up in these big playoff moments. So far in his career, he's been a dud. And you cannot blame the Bucks ownership. That's a good squad he has. He scored 34. I get it. He got the rebounds, 12. I get it. But you got to find a way to win this game, especially when you consider the fact they're up by 14 at the end of one, 16 at halftime, and you get outscored by 22 in the second half in a game where they don't have Kyrie Irving. Harden is playing on one leg, and Durant, you let one man essentially beat you. Kevin Durant scores 49. And tonight in the National Basketball playoffs, the NBA playoffs are starting to really heat up. Atlanta and Philly, game number 5, huge game. Whoever wins this game, I think probably wins the series. So this is a big game. If Atlanta can steal one, they'll have home court next time down in Atlanta for game number 6. Obviously, if Philadelphia wins, then they have a game to play with. They can win on the road in game number 6, or they know they know if they win tonight, it ensures the fact that they'll come home. To knock them out, you're going to have to beat them on their home floor. You're either going to have to do it tonight, or you're going to have to do it game 7. And it's a lot easier to steal a game 5 than it is a game 7. Also tonight, Clippers in Utah. If you missed the news, Kawhi Leonard, knee injury, is expected to miss the rest of this playoff series. That's a huge blow, and Utah needs to go ahead and end them, which I think they will. It's tied 2-2. You got to win the game tonight because I think the Clippers will quit on you in game 6. Playoff P, as he calls himself. I've always called him PG-13, but Paul George, if you're the man, this is the time to show up for your playoff P. It's not looking good. 10 o'clock Eastern is that game. Major League Baseball, real quick, just hit the high notes for that. By the way, also in the NBA, Chris Paul for the Suns, he's under COVID-19 protocols. You're going to see this splattered all over the screen. Don't overreact to that. It just means that he has come in contact, et cetera, et cetera. So they got him in the protocols. Look, guy, it's time to take the jab. It's time to take the jab. You're a professional athlete, and you are putting your team at risk of not winning a championship because why? I don't want to get into a big debate on whether or not you should take a vaccination, but if you're a professional athlete and the money that's at stake, it seems like it's a little disingenuous not to go ahead and do what you need to do. All right, we'll move on from that. Baseball last night, Yankees got a big W. The Red Sox got a big W. They downed the Braves, high scoring game, 10-8. And if you want to hear more about that, listen to our Braves Country today. Mets get a big W as Taijuan Walker, what a signing he's been. 7 innings, 12 Ks. Anyone who didn't sign him, which means 29 other teams are regretting it right now. I said during the offseason that was the pitcher that I would get because I felt like he was affordable, and he signed so late. It's unbelievable that they're getting this kind of. I thought he would do well. This is all-star. This is he wins the Cy Young if some guy by the name of Jacob deGrom didn't already exist on his own team. Also, White Sox blanked the Rays. And we'll move on from that as we get you caught up in the world of baseball. The Cardinals won. Rockies win. A's beat the Angels. Giants outlast Arizona, scoring 4 in the bottom of the 8th to come back and win. And the Dodgers beat the Phillies once again, as the Phillies are going to send Zach Wheeler to the mound today. So when we look at that, we look at the matchups today. If you're looking for good matchups in Major League Baseball today, the Braves, Red Sox, Richards versus Ian Anderson, that should be an entertaining game. Other big pitching matchups, ones that I would focus on. Ryan Yarbrough has pitched pretty well. He's going into Chicago, face the White Sox and Giolito. So you like that game. Tyler Mahle and the Reds, who are sneakily hanging around in their own right, they're going to face Milwaukee and Peralta, who has a 2.25 ERA. Ian Snell's in Colorado, day game. We'll see how this goes. He has not pitched well this year. He's an ERA of almost 5. And as far as this evening, Garrett Cole takes the mound against the Blue Jays. Savale is at home against the Indians. DeGrom, we just mentioned that, 0.56 ERA. 0.56 ERA, and we're 60 games into the season. He takes on the Cubs. It's almost like a video game where you say, how low can we get this ERA? This is insane. And Greinke is at home against the Astros. And then tonight, like we talked about, Kershaw versus Wheeler, Phillies Dodgers, a fun one, 10-10 Eastern. Really wish that game was a little earlier because that would be a fun game to watch. It's the last game of the series. It's a little disappointing that they didn't do this as a getaway day game. I mean, at least play at 4:00 local time. You can put it on the national game of the day. But anyways, we'll move on from that. The other big news, Glasnow. Tyler Glasnow came out, and this is what we'll leave you with. He came out with a statement after injuring his UCL, and it looks like he's going to be out for quite some time. It looks like that he may not be back until like the playoffs. It could be a little earlier. But he's highly upset because of the new Major League Baseball protocols that they're going to start suspending people for 10 games for putting junk on the ball. Essentially, what he said in a nutshell was, why in the world did you change it? Why did you change the way we do it in the middle of a season? Why did we not do this at the beginning of the season or wait until the end of this season to put those protocols in place? And he is contributing to the fact that because he has to hold onto the ball, he said, I don't use spider tack and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not worried about getting spin rate. I'm worried about my grip to be able to make sure the ball doesn't slip. And he was using a combination of sunscreen and rosin, like a lot of them do. A lot of them do it because it gives you just enough grip. He said, now I'm putting the ball deeper into my hand. And this is an actual baseball. He's sitting there telling you that I'm throwing the ball about like that, right? I've got a whole, it's like an egg. You're just tossing it. And I've got control. Now he's saying I'm doing it much more like this, where it's inside your hand. And he said he woke up after the first start that he did this against Washington. He said he was sore. I played around with it last night, and I can kind of see what he's saying as far as using tendons and whatnot. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a Major League Baseball pitcher, but I just wanted to see what is he referring to. He was sore after the Washington game, and then in the middle of the Chicago game, he said he felt something pop or something. It's a fair point, and it sucks that someone has to get hurt. But I think Major League Baseball has a lot of answers. And if I'm Tyler Glau, I seriously consider suing Major League Baseball, because you're putting these protocols in place in the middle of a season. Another terrible stain on the Rob Manfred record. It's the reason why I've been calling him man fraud for years. He is the worst commissioner in sport, and he is the worst commissioner Major League Baseball has ever had. And that's saying a mouthful. He's terrible. He never played the damn game. So, and he's not relying on players. He's relying on lawyers. And that's how he's making his decisions. He dropped the ball with the All-Star game, moving it from Atlanta to Colorado. He did that very knee-jerk reaction. We see the backlash he got from that. He suspended nobody in the Houston scandal. He only suspended the coaches. We saw the backlash he got from that. Called it just a piece of metal, referring to the championship trophy. Got backlash from that. Basically, they gave a slap on the wrist to anyone who was involved in the Boston Red Sox smartwatch scandal. Apple Watch, whatever you want to call it. This has been one bad idea after another. He's also been killed for the fact that he changed the All-Star game. It used to mean something. Now it's meaningless. He's done two terrible things in the All-Star game over the past few years. I'm not as excited to watch the All-Star game anymore because it means nothing anyways. And now that what he did, I'm not watching an All-Star game that should have been in Atlanta commemorating the memory of Hank Aaron that he puts out in Colorado. Because that's diversity. Okay. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. The world of news, the world of sports. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and take us out to the ball game. Play ball.